Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99 back on the fight front once again. Make sure y'all subscribe. I'm back with my post-fight thoughts on Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua 2. Just like I said, I said that, Anthony Joshua, he gonna have to prove me wrong to prove me he still got it, and or he had another level in him, and he proved that. He proved that Saturday night. Andy Ruiz, on the other hand, really showed that he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing in these past 6 months. He really showed that, and he kind of admitted that, after the fight. He admitted it, but he also made these excuses that kind of, definitely made, a lot of people and myself kind of take away from him as far as, saying that, it was the weight and some things, it was some training things they didn't get to execute, just saying that, they were partying, all of that, all of that was factors in this one. And, he presented himself as this guy that was ready to hold the belts and, do whatever it was to take it or do whatever it is to keep them. But, he did the opposite. Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, a lot of people are mad at him about his performance. They were saying it's disappointing. It was boring. I could definitely see some things, I could definitely agree with some of those things that people were saying, but you got to understand, he's coming off a knockout loss, and this was the approach that he took. I would have preferred he would have executed some of the things that did work in the first fight, implement some of those things and then apply some of the boxing that he used in this fight, and he would have came away with a better, more satisfying win for himself and the crowd, to me. Because I wasn't really mad at what went down, as far as the fight, because everything that I saw AJ do was everything I said that he needed to do in my prediction video. I said if he wanted to win this fight, he was going to need to use his jab, fight like a tall man, and grab and hold, which he did. Grab and hold is part of boxing. I couldn't get mad at him for doing that. He had the clinch, jab and grab. Klitschko did it. Anthony Joshua, he's a big man that was fighting a very forceful, smaller heavyweight with power, so he had to do it. And when I say jab and grab, you have to do that sometimes when a guy's trying to get into your zone. That's the best thing for a guy with long arms that's not really used to fighting on the inside like Joshua. Joshua's not really a great inside fighter. So if somebody with the height of Ruiz is going to squeeze in on you and try to, muscle you and, use his loopy shots to get hits on you, you got to grab him, and that's what Joshua was doing. But, I also disagree with some of the things that Joshua was doing, and I did feel like it was kind of a boring fight because Joshua had that other element to close the show and not make 12 rounds of trouble for himself. Klitschko, he's a guy that jabs and grabs and can make a boring fight sometimes, but once he hurts a guy, he gets him out of there. Also that jab he throws is pretty damaging, but he also follows it up with a very strong right hand. And when he fires those shots, a lot of the times, there's so much power and strength on it, kind of breaks a guy down, and then he follows it up out of nowhere with the right hand and knocks a guy clean out. He's done it many a time in the past. It's kind of boring when it leads the way he starts, but by the second half of the fight, he's knocking a guy out or making him quit. And I think Anthony Joshua had that in him, but he kind of played it too safe. And that's where the boring element comes in, and that's where the running element comes in. Boxing in general and moving around at angles and using lateral movement, that's not running. That's just moving. That's just defense and, applying that hit and not get hit element to boxing. But in Joshua's case, it looked like he was really playing it safe at times, because first of all, I got to say, I believe he did pitch a clean shutout. I couldn't give Andy Ruiz any rounds, maybe like one in the middle, but I felt like it was 12 rounds to 0. And that's another disappointing thing about Andy Ruiz, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I feel like Joshua had many a moments in this fight where he pitched this shutout to shut him down. He could have shut Andy Ruiz down in maybe like the 7th or 8th round himself. Because first few rounds, all he did was pop that jab off. And the way he was fighting at such a good length, Andy Ruiz couldn't get in on the inside. He was moving well side to side, and he wasn't really sitting down hard enough on the jab. And there was many a time when he would pop this jab off 2 or 3 times. He should have been throwing a hard, straight right hand to really get Andy Ruiz's respect. Like, he never fully got Andy Ruiz's respect. He was just able to outbox Andy Ruiz because Ruiz couldn't get in, or he couldn't really, cut the ring off. And Ruiz didn't really cut the ring off either. But throughout the 5th and 6th round, we just kept seeing more of AJ's, same boxing tactics, just jabbing and grabbing. And even when Ruiz had a few scares over Joshua, he got a couple of right hands. It almost looked like he buckled Joshua once. Joshua just grabbed, which was smart. He grabbed him. But again, throughout the second half of the fight, he should have been trying to, close the show on Andy Ruiz. He should have been trying to jab and follow up the straight right hand, because I feel like he really could have knocked Ruiz out with those straight right hands if he would have started, dropping them bombs on Ruiz. But he was just fighting too safe. He was just touching him. He was touching him too much with the jab instead of sitting down on him. If he would have sat down on a good, long, hard jab a few times, Ruiz, he would have thought twice about coming in, But he just kept peppering him, and then would step to the side. And there was a couple left hooks he let off. He would hook off the jab a couple of times and pop Ruiz, catch him by surprise. But again, he didn't set these kind of shots up enough. So throughout the fight, I feel like he boxed a very good performance. He did give Ruiz a good boxing lesson, but it wasn't really like a very, very, what do you call it? It wasn't really like a great performance. It wasn't like a great technical performance, because a lot of the movement he was doing was unnecessary, and a lot of the ways he was moving around a lot of the times, and just letting Ruiz breathe too much, it was unnecessary. There was many a time, like I said, he could have just shut out the show, and that's what kind of made it boring to people, because from the outside looking in, even as a cornerman, you would be saying that Ruiz, there's a lot of openings on Ruiz where Joshua could have just went on and shut it, knocked him out or stopped him, so I think this is just like the evolution of a new style for Joshua, for real. I think him working with Klitschko over the past few months, and, kind of working on this new body and this new attempt, to be more of a mobile boxer, for his size. I think that he's going to become more of this type of boxer. But if he's going to want to be that entertaining guy that he was, he's going to have to start doing like Klitschko did. It might be boring a few rounds, but you're going to start having to you're going to have to start sitting down on that jab in that right hand. You're going to start really having to slam him in the face with the right after that jab. And I think that this was one of those fights where he could have kind of proved that, and say, hey, I can knock this guy out that knocked me out. And I think that's what kind of disappointed a lot of fans. Like, I'm not really disappointed in either one of them. Like I said, they are who they are, but I do kind of agree that it was boring in some parts. But Andy Ruiz, he could have done a lot better, man, because he did blow it. Like Andre Ward said on his tweet, about him blowing this big chance in Saudi and, and making a big name for himself. Andy Ruiz did blow that, especially, after the fight, whenever, he, let's go back to the end of the 12th round, like whenever Joshua was moving around and Ruiz looked frustrated and he was kind of waving him in. That kind of showed he was a beaten man right there. You don't wave a guy in like that. You stalk him and you cut him down. That's some shit you should have been doing in the first half of the fight. You should have been stalking Joshua, walking him down, cutting him off, using your head moving feints, get him to walk into another right hand. You should have been closing that distance and going to Joshua's body. You should have been taking Joshua's legs away. But now that he's not fighting your fight, you look like you were frustrated by round 12, kind of waving Joshua in like you wanted to fight. Well, you got to make it a fight. If another guy doesn't want to fight your fight, you got to make him do that. And that's where Andrew Ruiz, he kind of failed. And then after the fight, he was saying he wanted a third fight. In my opinion, he didn't do anything or prove anything to me that he deserves a third fight. He might feel like he wants a third fight, but he doesn't deserve a third fight right now, because like I said, the only thing he could come up with was excuses at the end, saying, it was the weight. They didn't execute the game plan they were supposed to. And then, in the post-fight, his biggest excuse was they partied. They partied after the fight. They partied after the first fight. They weren't really training for this rematch like they were supposed to. And, like I said in the past, guys that, win the belt, it's a harder job to keep it, and after that, when you lose it, that kind of proves that you weren't in that mind state, for longevity, Good example of a guy who wants to keep his belt, I'm always bringing this up, is Deontay Wilder as of right now. He's a guy who won the belt, years ago, and now he still keeps proving to everybody that he wants to keep his championship belt, but Ruiz, he failed in his first title defense, and real quick, I just want to say, yes, you can't really blame Joshua. You can't say, oh, he fought a boring fight. He won the fight the way he was supposed to. It was up to Ruiz to shut down any game plan that Joshua had. you're the guy coming in and defending your belt, so you got to say, I'm prepared for anything this guy brings back, you know? So all in all, man, it was just kind of a blah fight, you know, just kind of a blah rematch that's there. Congratulations to AJ. I can't take away anything from him as far as, you know, getting it the way he wanted it. You know, he got his redemption in his own way. So yeah, man, from here, I just hope that, you know, I was kind of hoping Ruiz won because I felt like Ruiz was going to be that guy that said, hey, I'll take a Deontay Wilder fight. But now that Joshua has these belts, you know, he already went on record to say that he's not entertaining Wilder. He's kind of looking past Wilder, you know, which doesn't make any sense, you know. So I'm just hoping that he comes to his senses and says, you know, forget the third fight with Ruiz and take on the Fury Wilder reign, you know. So, you know, there's that. And he's also got Alexander Usyk, you know, on his plate. So if he takes on Usyk, if he wants to fight Usyk next and then go for, you know, like a Wilder fight sometime, you know, in summer 2020, you know, let's do it. You know, I want to see that. But yeah, man, overall, like I said, it was just a fight that was there. It was just a good little boxing lesson for Anthony Joshua. It was something he needed to prove to himself that he could do and show everybody that he could stay in there mentally against the guy that knocked him out. But, you know, I feel like both guys could have did better. You know, Ruiz, he could have executed and get a better game plan. You know, it was on him. It was on him to keep his belts. Joshua did what he had to do. You know, fans might not like the way he did it, but he got it. He got his belts back. So, yeah, man, that's all I got on this one, guys. Yeah, like I said, it wasn't the best fight. Let me know in the comment section what y'all thought. Do y'all want to see a third fight with Joshua Ruiz? Let me know. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.